Noorsign Books presents Ramadan Miracles, Stories of Faith Found in the Ordinary. The Night Driver by Zaman. Part 2, The Night in Tsavo. The engine has died, and the silence of the savannah is filled with the laughter of hyenas. Stranded in the dark with a broken radiator, Abshir's mission to win a holiday bonus is falling apart. But in the stillness of the desert night, a young passenger's invitation to prayer opens a door Abshir has kept locked for years. He thought he was fixing a truck, but Allah is about to fix something much deeper. By the time they entered Tsavo's stretch, the sky was ink, and the road a ribbon of pale asphalt in their headlights. The engine's knock grew louder on the inclines, a dull, worrying tap. The temperature gauge inched toward the red like it had all night to get there. "Is that normal?" Zak asked, eyes flicking between the dial and the dark. "Engines complain," Abshir said, "like mothers." Zak tried to smile. "Mothers only complain when their sons don't call." The truck shuddered, a brief, sick tremor. An acrid, hot smell seeped into the cab. The needle kissed the red. "Ya Allah," Abshir briefed. He eased off the accelerator, signaled out of habit, and guided the truck onto the dust-packed shoulder. The engine's protest became a ragged wheeze. He killed it. Silence crashed in. For a heartbeat, even the crickets seemed to hold their breath. Then the night sounds returned, churs, distant yips, something heavy moving in scrub. Zak swallowed. "Uncle?" "Stay here," Abshir said. "Lock your door." Outside, the world was raw. The truck's cooling metal ticked softly. Stars raged overhead, the Milky Way a white scar. He popped the hood. Heat punched his face. Torchbeam slid over pipes and metal, catching on the torn hose and hairline crack. Coolant glistened, neon in the light. "Finished," he muttered. Zak had ignored the order and climbed down, hugging himself against the sudden chill. The savannah was a sea of black shapes. "Bad?" he asked. "Bad." Abshir wiped his hand on his jeans. "Hose is gone. Radiator too, maybe. We need parts. A mechanic, a miracle." "Network?" Zak held up his phone. 0 bars. Abshir checked his own. Nothing. "This section is dead," he said. "No signal, no town, just bush." The word hung there. Bush. Lions. Hyenas. As if on cue, a hyena cackled somewhere, high and manic. Zak flinched closer to the truck. "We wait for someone to pass?" "We wait," Abshir said, "by the truck. Nobody walks into Tsavo at night, not unless he wants to meet Allah fast." They laid their mats beside the massive tires, the trailer a cold wall against the breeze. "Uncle," Zak said quietly, "maybe we should make dua." Abshir's nerves, strung tight by heat and fear and the loss of that shiny bonus, snapped. "Dua won't fix a radiator," he said harshly. "It won't drop a hose from the sky." Zak's face shuddered, hurt swimming up. "Everything is from Allah," he replied, voice steadying with pain. The words landed like a slap. Abshir looked away, jaw clenched. The stars stared back, ancient and unimpressed. Zak spread his mat. "I'm going to pray 2 rak'ahs," he said. "You can join, or you can sit and argue with your engine." He turned to the Qibla, using the truck as his line, and raised his hands. The hyena laughed again, then fell silent. The night had them now. Well. They stood shoulder to shoulder, two thin shadows beside a hulking beast of steel. Allahu Akbar. On other nights, in other yards, Abshir's salah was quick and neat, the minimum owed paid on time. Here, with dust under his toes and nothing but scrub and sky as witnesses, the familiar words tasted different. In sujud, his forehead pressed into Tsavo's red earth. It smelled dry, old, indifferent. For a moment, he almost rose the way he always did. Instead, he stayed. Behind the closed darkness of his eyelids, something long ignored stirred. Ya Rab, this is stupid, his heart muttered. People have real problems, war, hunger. I'm stuck in a park with a spoiled radiator. The thought kept coming anyway. But I wanted this run, for her, for my mother. I wanted to give her that journey. I am tired of this road, of fights that never end, of hearing my father's insults in my own head, tired of... He couldn't even name it. His hands trembled slightly against the mat. After Taslim, Zak lifted his palms, lips moving. His silhouette looked small against the vast truck. Let's each ask, Zak said softly, whatever is eating us. Nothing is eating me, Abshir sighed. Yet, Zak muttered, hyenas are still choosing. Despite himself, a corner of Abshir's mouth twitched. He sat, knees protesting, and lifted his hands. Ya Allah, he began slowly, mixing Somali and Swahili the way he did when he was most honest. You know I don't talk much. You know I'm not good at this. Words came, halting at first, then tumbling. Forgive me for what I said to my father, he whispered, for words I threw like stones, for leaving the house like a thief, for not going back when he died, for still arguing with him in my head when he can't answer. His throat burned. Forgive me for hiding from my mother, he continued, for letting her voice notes pile up while I pretend I'm too busy, for making trucks feel more like home than her sitting room. A tear slipped, hot and shocking. He scrubbed it away. I wanted to give her Hajj, he admitted, to say, look, I am not useless. I am a man. I can send you to Allah's house. But maybe, his voice roughened, maybe I love the idea of being her hero more than I love just being her son. His shoulders shook once, quietly. I am tired, Ya Rab, he breathed, tired of being alone on these roads. Bring me back before you bring me to you. Fix what I broke. And if this bonus is not written for me, then don't let me love that money more than my mother's smile. When his hands finally fell, they felt lighter, his face, strangely, heavier. Zak watched him, eyes glinting in the dim starlight. That was a good dua, he said simply. Allah understands Somali, you know. He better, Abshir muttered. Zak lay back for a moment, staring up. Maybe this is Laylatul Qadr, he said softly. My ustad says sometimes Allah brings trouble just so you'll call him properly. Abshir snorted. Remind me to thank him when an elephant sits on the truck. Zak huffed. You talk like someone who has lived alone too long. The night deepened around them, full of teeth and mercy. Sleep came in scraps, startled awake by every crackle in the bush, every distant yip. Once, between dreams, Abshir heard Zak reciting under his breath, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْأُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Verily, with hardship comes ease. He clung to the words like a man holding a frayed rope in the dark. Just before dawn, a new sound threaded through the night, the low, growing rumble of an engine. Abshir jolted upright, heart hammering. Cold air bit his cheeks as he scrambled to the roadside, waving his torch in wide arcs. Headlights bloomed in the distance, then grew into the square face of a smaller truck. Its brakes hissed as it slowed, then sighed fully as it pulled ahead and stopped, hazards flickering. A head popped out of the driver's window. "Eh, Abshiro, is that you or a jinn?" a familiar voice called. Abshir blanked, then laughed. "Laban?" In a few moments, the stocky Kenyan driver was thumping his shoulder, breath steaming. "My friend, what are you doing camping in Tsavo? You think you are a lion?" "Radiator finished," Abshir said, gesturing at his truck. "Hose cracked, no network." Laban clicked his tongue. "Pole, bad place for drama." Zak joined them, backpack already on. Laban eyed him with amusement. "You bring your own imam now," he joked. "Masha Allah." "This is my cousin," Abshir said, the lie from the weighbridge landing differently now. "Zakaria. He has to reach Mombasa. Quran competition, registration this morning." "Quran boy," Laban's eyebrows rose. Blessings even in breakdown." He squinted between the loaded trailer and his own empty flatbed. "I'm going back to Nairobi. Dropped containers in Mombasa last night. I can carry some of your cement, lighten your baby." He jerked his thumb at Zak. "And I can take this one to Vai. From there, matatus to Mombasa." Hope lit Zak's face, then clouded with concern as he looked at Abshir. "What about you, uncle? You can't leave the truck." "No," Abshir said automatically. "I stay. It's my load, my problem." Laban nodded, approving. Serious man. They set to work shifting part of the cargo. Cement bags scraped, muscles burned, breath puffed white. The horizon began to bleed from black to deep blue. When they finished, Zak wiped dust from his hands, then turned to Abshir. "Maybe you should come too," he said quietly, "at least to Vai, then bus to Nairobi, to your mother. You said you wanted to be home before Eid." "I also said I wanted to finish this job," Abshir replied. "Maybe Allah closed that road," Zak said. "He opened others. You can sit here guarding cement, or you can move, before something else closes." He hesitated. "Like your mother's time." The thought twisted in Abshir's gut. Drivers didn't abandon trucks. The vehicle was your amana, your trust. But his mother's balcony rose in his mind, her dua beads, the way she probably still checked the street for a son who never turned the corner. "Let me call Yusuf," he said. Laban's cab smelled of sweat, dust, and stale crisps. But the tiny signal bars in the corner of Abshir's phone screen looked like pure mercy. He dialed Yusuf. The supervisor answered on the second ring, already annoyed. "Where are you? Mombasa site has called 3 times. You were supposed to be there before Fajr." "Tsavo," Abshir said. "Radiator hose cracked. Maybe the radiator. No network until now. Laban found me." Paper rustled over the line. Yusuf groaned. "Always on important trips. Did you not service that truck?" "I did," Abshir said. "Sometimes things break in the middle of the road, Yusuf, even your mouth." A sigh. "I'll send a mechanic from Voi. It will take hours. Maybe Dhuhr. You can't move the truck?" "No." "We lose time, money. That contractor will scream. Your bonus." Yusuf paused for effect. "Just forget it." The words landed, expected but still sharp. Surprisingly, under the sting, something like relief slid in. "I know," Abshir said quietly. Yusuf continued, half grumbling, half calculating. "Boss is not happy. He will ask, why him? Why this time? I will say, even good drivers break down. But you must tell me everything. Any police problems? Any passengers?" Abshir looked through the windshield. Zak stood by his truck, hugging his mushaf to his chest, trying to look brave. A hyena's last whoop rose faintly with the fading night. "I picked a boy," he said, "hitchhiker, for Mombasa. I rode him as my cousin at the weighbridge." Yusuf's groan was theatrical. "Wallahi, if you were here, I would beat you with my clipboard. Didn't I say in the morning, no passengers? Not even angels?" "He was stuck," Abshir said. "Bus broke. He would miss registration. I will accept whatever the company decides, but I'm not lying. Not after this night." For a moment, only static answered. "You drivers," Yusuf said at last, a strand of reluctant respect woven into the irritation. "Soft hearts, hard heads." He exhaled. "Ah, fine. Stay with the truck until the mechanic comes. Laban will take part of your load, and the boy. When you reach Nairobi after Eid, we talk. Maybe you still have a job, maybe not." "Shukran," Abshir said. "For what? I just killed your bonus," Yusuf sniffed. "Just don't die in Tsavo. I hate paperwork." The line clicked off. Outside, dawn pushed back the dark, painting the scrub in gray and gold. Birds tested their morning calls. Zak looked up as Abshir approached, eyes searching his face. "Well," he asked. "You're going with Laban," Abshir said. "He'll drop you in Voi, catch a matatu, or fly." He managed a faint smile. "I'm staying till the mechanic comes. Then Nairobi. Bonus is gone." Zak's mouth twisted. "I'm sorry," he said, "about the bonus." "You didn't crack the radiator," Abshir replied. "Maybe Allah didn't want my mother's Hajj from this money." Zak frowned. "What do you mean?" "Maybe he wants it from something cleaner. Or maybe he wants something else first." Abshir's hand slipped into his pocket, fingers brushing his phone, and his mother's unanswered icon. "Before I go," Zak said, rummaging in his backpack, "my ustad gave us a dua to memorize. For families, for mending hearts. I wrote it down. Take it. Maybe read it with your mother." He handed over a folded, worn scrap of paper. Abshir unfolded it. Neat Arabic, with rough translation. "O Allah, mend what is broken between us. Place love where there was bitterness. Forgive us for what we did and what we failed to do. Return the lost to their families before the day you return us all to you." His throat thickened. He tucked it carefully into his pocket. "Give me your mother's number," Zak added. "Why?" "So I can ask her forgiveness," Zak said, "for making her son take risk, and so she can make dua for me. Mother's duas travel faster than Safracom." Despite everything, a startled laugh escaped Abshir. "She doesn't know you." "She will. I'll tell her. I'm your cousin." "You're getting comfortable with that lie," Abshir said, but there was only warmth in it. He dictated the number. Zak typed it carefully. "Uncle," Zak said softly, "my ustad also says sometimes the greatest jihad is pressing one green button." Abshir looked at his own phone, at Hoyo glowing on the screen. The idea of calling her here, under Tsavo's sky, felt like standing in front of a truck with no brakes. He watched as Zak climbed into Laban's cab. The boy paused, then suddenly leaned down and hugged him, quick, awkward, full of thanks he couldn't phrase. "Jazak Allahu khair," Zak whispered. "If I win anything, I'll read a surah for you." "Read it for your mother," Abshir said, "and for yourself." The smaller truck pulled away, engine strong, carrying cement and a sliver of hope toward the rising sun. Dust settled, the road grew quiet again. Abshir stood alone beside his wounded lorry, phone heavy in his hand, dua paper against his heart. He scrolled to Hoyo and pressed call. The ringtone buzzed in his ear, steady, accusing. Once, twice. On the third ring, the line clicked, and a thin, beloved voice answered, breath-catching. "Hello? Hello? Who is this?"
You've been listening to part 2 of The Night Driver, a Noorsign Books original by Zaman. The bonus is gone, the truck is wounded, but for the first time in years, Abshir is finally picking up the phone. Sometimes the hardest road to travel is the one that leads back home. Join us for the final part of Abshir's journey. Subscribe and join our inner circle at noorsignbooks.com for more stories that illuminate the modern Muslim experience. Get the full Ramadan Miracles collection on Google Play Books. Until next time, may your heart always find its light. Jazakumullah khairan.